What's going on? Let's try that again. So I'm being able to introduce now none other than one of the top players in all college basketball right now. He's coming back to play at UConn in this upcoming season. After last year, he was a 2024-2025 second team All Big East selection. That's none other than UConn star Solo Ball. Solo, appreciate taking time to come on today, man.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, first things first, you just announced it. Obviously, it's been a couple months now, I should say now, but you are returning to UConn for your third season. Now that you know that's locked in, the decision's been made that you're going to be coming back to UConn. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I feel great. I mean, it's just another opportunity to build my game up and become more of a complete guard.
Now, I want to get into a few things today, Solo, but one of the biggest things, I want people to get to know your story a little bit better, get to know who you are and how you've gotten to the place you are at today. And so I want to be able to go all the way back for yourself, though. You're growing up. Was basketball always your dream? Was that always what you had in store for yourself? Or when did the fruition come that you knew basketball was going to be your story?
Man, so I had to explain this to somebody else, but my first sport was actually baseball. And then I
Okay.
went from baseball to football and then football to basketball. But the way it kind of started was like my dad took me and my brother to the field and we just hold on. I don't know why it's
Is that
echoing.
going?
My bad. Yeah. But the we just used to this echo is throwing me off. My
Hold
bad.
up. Let me see. I'll go commercial break. See if we can fix it. I don't know what's going on. My
All
bad
right,
about
cool.
that.
I don't
Quick
hear
test,
nothing.
test,
Actually, yeah,
test,
I hear it.
test.
I hear it
You
now.
do? All right, one sec. We'll be right back, folks. Quick test, preview, test, test.
Okay. Uh, uh, it's not that bad, but it's a little better.
Quick test, preview, testing, preview.
Test. Test.
It's still going through?
Yeah.
Testing, testing, test, test, test.
That, that's not that bad.
It's not. All right, cool. We'll be right back, folks. Testing, testing, check, check, test, test.
Test, test. It's not that. Yeah, that's a lot better. It's a little better.
I bet. What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, SchuZ Show. I think we got all the technical difficulties now figured out. Sorry for those of you guys waiting, but with that being said, I'm excited to welcome on now one of the most exciting players in all college basketball. He's coming off a massive breakout season last year where he was a 2024-2025 second team All Big East selection. He also is a national champion. Heading into his third year now as one of the biggest names in all of college basketball. That's none other than UConn star, Solo Ball. Solo, appreciate taking time to come on today, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, let's get right into this. First and foremost, you've announced it. You're returning to UConn now for a third season. Obviously, people are very excited anticipating this. How excited now as you get ready to return for your third season?
And I'm just happy to get back to work. Just build on my game and just become more of a complete player.
This has obviously had an incredible story if we get to this point now, having the season that you've had. And I want to break down so people get to know your journey a little bit better. If we head all the way back, was basketball always the dream that you kind of had a passion for, or when did this kind of come to fruition?
Yeah, so I mean, originally my first sport was actually baseball. I started pretty young, but the way I kind of started was me and my brother just being in the like playing around really, and my dad would just take us to the park, and we would have like to choose between a baseball and football, and then a basketball. He would bring baseball bat, a baseball, but I would always go to the baseball. Me and my brother always go to that first, so that's kind of how that came to fruition. And then I went to football right after that. And then basketball actually ended up being my third sport, and I ended up just taking it super serious. And
So what separated basketball from those other sports then?
I was just so committed, and I think it also depended on like my cousins. My cousins really got me into the game too. But I wouldn't even say my dad really forced me into the sport. But my cousins, like I went to McDonald's All American, and my cousin was a McDonald's All American in 2012, I want to say, on the girls' side, and I think they gave me so much motivation. I was like, man, I would love to play this sport.
So I was doing some research on you, though, and the crazy thing is that you were not at your current height when you were a young guy, even in the beginning parts of high school. You had a massive growth spurt, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here. I believe you were 5'2" as an eighth grader. You headed into high school about 5'6", 5'7", and then by your third year of high school, obviously your sophomore season, though, you jumped up to the height you're at today. When did that start to kind of come to fruition? Because I'm sure if you started pursuing basketball, that's not the ideal height to be at, obviously, for a basketball player. So as you were going through this process, just getting this growth spurt, did that also help kind of incline you to basketball?
I wouldn't even say the growth spurt really inclined me to basketball. I really just had a natural love for the game, built up through my family. But even going into high school, I was really 5'4". I was 5'4". I had a 6'1" wingspan, size 13 feet. Like I was Mike Wazowski out there. So I mean, that was one thing I had to adjust to. I had to grow into my body. I mean, I took the weight room really seriously as like at a young age. So I mean, commitment was never a problem for me.
Okay. That had to be also another aspect where you talk about being 5 foot, 13 shot size shoe. That's obviously a massive difference there. So did you kind of in the back of your mind, even maybe knowing the way that your family grew, like that you were going to hit a growth spurt in the near future?
I knew I was gonna grow. I never knew how tall I was gonna be because
Right.
I mean my brother is probably the tallest outside of me, and he's 6'1", 6'2".
Okay.
So I mean I kind of got lucky. My mom's pretty tall. She's like 5'7", and my dad's 5'10". But I
Mhm.
got pretty lucky being 6'3".
Now, one of those big components that you do have for yourself is the 45-inch vertical, and I know it's reported at 43. I know you said somewhere else that you had hit 45 before. Now, if you've been high, have you been higher before? That's 45 is your highest.
It was like 45 and a half when I got
All right.
tested over the summer. I touched 12 feet.
Okay.
And yeah, I touched 12 feet. Well, one of my Instagram stories has that, but yeah, everyone said 43, but I mean, I always tell them like 45.
All right. Now that had to be huge too. Was that verticality, that athleticism, always a part of you? Did that kind of come together when you started growing in your body, or when did you get that vertical aspect?
So really, because I was a late bloomer, and also I put in a bunch of work when I was early. I was always doing tire jumps, like the stuff you kind of see Josh doing when he was younger. I was
Right.
doing kind of the same thing. I was doing tire jumps. I used to have these shoes that were like elevated off the ground, like so they're kind of like you're doing toe raises all day, but you would just walk around in them. So I would like
Mm.
walk up the steps. I would walk up and down the steps every day with those on, and I think just work over time, and then me growing into my body, like my bounce just went through the roof once I got to like junior year of high school.
As that kind of came into fruition for yourself, how much did you enjoy that? Because obviously, there's not a lot of people that can relate to that. 45-inch vertical is pretty wild. Being able to kind of adapt to that, and obviously being able to not only just have the ability to jump, but obviously incorporate into your game, because that's something that you become great at. You know how to utilize your athleticism to be able to execute on the court as well. When do you feel like you just kind of grew into everything, all your different attributes that God's given you? When do you feel like it kind of all came together for yourself?
I think I really kind of saw it coming together like junior year. I would really
All
say
right.
junior year of high school. That was before I even got any offers, and I was really just waiting to play. Like once
Mhm.
I got to AAU season, I was like, man, all I need to do is just play in front of these coaches, and this is all they need to see. And yeah, I think that's really all she wrote. I ended up at UConn and then
Mhm.
ended up at the best place I could have ever imagined.
Another aspect I want to get into you about is something that I read an article by Mike Anthony. He talked about you and your ability to you have your discipline, you have your mindset, the way you meditate, and those different components to your life. Was that something that you grew into later on in life, or when did that come and become a part of your life?
The meditation really came after freshman year, I would say. Our team, we would really do that before games, like the day before. We'd be on the bus, and guy named Grant, shout out to him, kind of got us into like 6-5-4, like
Mhm.
inhale for 6 seconds, hold for 5, and then exhale for 4. And
Sure.
I would do that every day. I started doing that every day when I woke up for 10 minutes, set a timer as soon as I wake up, and that just came routine to me, just like making my bed, just like that.
Another aspect I want to get into too is that as you've developed that aspect, I know you also in the article it also alluded to the fact of how you look at your entire day by the seconds. Every single second matters for yourself. You want to make the most of each and every single day. How have you been able to adapt to that and make sure that you are disciplined, not just on the court, but how you live your life outside of the court as well?
Yeah, I mean, um, I'll tell you one thing. I haven't really been big into reading, but I kind of got
Mhm.
into books now.
All right.
I'm reading I'm reading this book right now. It's How Bad Do You Want It? And my mental performance coach kind of put me onto it, and it's been a really good book for me. And I've
Mhm.
also been reading a bunch of different books, like Becoming a Pro is another one.
Okay.
But like, I've just tried to read and just expand my mind.
Well, let's get into your overall high school recruiting process because as you're going through high school, like you said, didn't really start coming together until your later years of high school. But originally, you started getting some offers, and I believe you commit to Richmond in 2022. Obviously, we know that
Yeah,
ended
that
up
was
changing.
I didn't actually commit, but I
Okay.
was really thinking about it.
All
I
right.
include that too.
That's what I thought. 'Cause I know when I was looking at that, I knew 2022. I saw that thing, and the 24/7. No one else reported that, but I know it's just something else that the articles had about you. So when you talk about that aspect, and you were close to committing to Richmond, then what stopped you? Why did you not want to commit to Richmond at that point in time?
I was just waiting for my recruitment to go through the roof, and
Mm,
like I was saying with junior year, I mean, I just knew I needed the opportunity to play in front of a lot of coaches and like a better like competition. I was on a smaller team, and then once I got to Team Mello, and everything just went up from there. I went from 6 mid-major offers to 25 in a
mm.
span of 2 months. So
I
I
knew
mean, it's
that's
been
when we
crazy
started getting to
adjustment.
know each other a little bit too, right about that time when it was about end of your high school career. But if I were to ask you, if I were to talk to you, sophomore, maybe beginning portions of junior year solo ball, and I would have said, you know what, you're going to become a guy that at the end of your high school career, you're a top 100 recruit by almost all the boards. You're going to be a guy that's going to be able to go to school like UConn, have a top five of Providence, DePaul, USC, Miami, UConn. Would that have shocked you, or is that always what you expected to have happen?
I mean, with the way I worked, I kind of just put it all into use. I mean, the way I looked at it, my phone screen when I was in junior year, I still remember it. I had a spider at one point, but I also had a bunch of goals as my phone screen. Like I had top 100 as like one part of the screen. I had the McDonald's All American logo one part of the screen, and then I had like a ranking right, like
Mhm.
my ranking from ESPN of
Okay.
me being like a 3-star on my screen too. So like I just put all those together, and I wake up looking at that. Every part of my day, I will see it. So I mean, just give me motivation to work harder.
And then it kind of obviously we'll touch up more on in a second, but obviously as you go through your freshman season at UConn, you obviously want to be part of a great team. Think get a lot of minutes though, and it's like the same story for yourself where you always want to prove people wrong. You want to go out there and you say, okay, maybe it's not the guy that's going to go be a star the first year, but I'm going to develop. I'm going to reach that point. I know you can do it. What always keeps you positive? What always gives you this mindset that says, you know what, I have a bright future. I know if I keep putting the work in, I stay focused, that my time is going to come. What keeps your mindset in that level?
I feel like I've always been the underdog, so
Mm,
I always come in with the chip on my shoulder and something to prove. And that's the big thing for me. I even got a tattoo. I got something to prove across my stomach. I live that,
mm.
breathe that, die by that. And I even let's live by the mentality of just proving yourself right. Um, you work, spend all the time working all your life and on big aspects of your life, just trying to build your game and outside of the court too, just proving yourself right by your work.
You know, I feel like some people can either take too much pressure and, in a sense, go look at themselves and say, you know what, I'm not good enough yet. I'm not going to reach, and they get down on themselves. You have a different mindset, as you said. You're going to prove people wrong. It's okay. People are doubting me. I'm going to go out there and prove that I am who I believe I am. What gives you that confidence inside yourself?
I think it's just instilled through my family.
Mm,
Also, just always been built on mentality, having a big mindset. My
mhm.
parents are both from inner city Baltimore, so I mean, I kind of just grew into it,
Right.
and yeah, I think that's how it really got to it.
How big has your family been in helping you become the person that you are, both on the court and off the court?
It's been incredibly big. From all my siblings, I'm the youngest, so
Right.
I have a brother and 2 sisters, and also my parents. But like they've been huge in my development, just as a player and as a person.
As you were progressing, then you go into this high school recruiting and you end up going to top five: Providence, DePaul, USC, UConn, Miami. What about those five schools stood out to you? Why were those your final five schools?
I'll break them down to you. So DePaul was my first big offer.
Hmm.
I still remember getting that after St. James tournament, and I was really crying because that was my
Really?
first like high major offer, and I was like lost, man. I was like, man, this is unreal. Um,
Hmm.
but that was how that came to fruition. That was my first official visit, and Miami. I had been talking to them for a little bit. I never got to visit, so I only ended up visiting officially DePaul, USC, and trying to remember. I can't so long ago. But I also went to Providence. Providence was looking at me as well, and I think I had a good connection with Ed Cooley. He was a good guy,
Hmm.
great guy. And then you see UConn, of course, man. But of course, I said I forgot. But I mean, I ended up at the right school. I mean, I made the right decision. I'm so happy I chose the school over anybody.
You talk about an aspect I don't think too many fans obviously can relate to, because you talk about the component of you get us off like Providence, and you talk about how much that was a goal to you, a dream, and how emotional it was for you to be able to get that offer. And for fans, you know, we see just guys post their offers on social media, so on and so forth. For you as an athlete, when you get to accomplish your dream to that extent, where you say, you know what, I, in a sense, obviously it's not done yet, but you made it to a certain extent, a goal, I should probably say, a milestone even, has been accomplished. How meaningful and how impactful is that for your career to have that kind of a sense of a certainty that, you know what, I am doing the right thing. I'm on the right track.
Oh, just the motivation for waking up every day, just working hard, man. I mean, just putting in the work, putting in the hours, as much work as you can, just building your game day by day.
And then obviously as you go through this process, was there a final two schools? Obviously we know UConn's number one. They're
Of
there.
course,
Was there a number two school?
my number two is USC,
All
but I
right.
mean, the big separator for me was that I didn't really meet the team,
Mm.
and also like my visit was we were on the beach most of the time eating dinner. So I mean, I knew my life wasn't going to be like that. And UConn, I mean, Dan, Coach Curley just set it up perfectly for me, just giving me the rundown, just making sure I was always working hard. And like, I knew it was going to be the right spot for me, just because my dad coached me the same way Coach Curley coached me, and the whole coaching staff got to utmost support, utmost respect for all of them. Coach Kamani, Coach Tom, Coach Luke, and Coach Nardi. Now, this is just going to be a great year coming up too.
I want to ask you a little bit more about that recruiting process because it does not shock me when you talk about Dan Hurley. He probably is the number one coach when it comes to keeping it 100. He's going to keep it real with you, and you kind of hinted at that. Even in the recruiting process, he wasn't kind of pitching you a false hope. Talk about
Not
USC.
at all.
Obviously, I think it was Andy Enfield was the coach at that point. He
Mhm.
obviously is a good coach, obviously a good program, but you talk about the fact that you're living on a beach. That's not going to be life when you get there. As an
Absolutely.
athlete, though, so many guys do fall in that trap. Might be maybe for some guys the financial NIL aspect. Some guys might be the beach, the girls, whatever it might be. You obviously said, you know what, I'm focused on basketball. What gave you that wisdom to make that proper decision?
My parents and the people that were in my corner just telling me what my life is really going to be like. If I really wanted to be where I wanted to be in five or so years, being an all star, being in the NBA just makes noise. I mean, I had to be at UConn. Coach is going to push you every day. You know he's going to do that. You know he's going to be on you 24/7. But that's the love you need, and you know he's supporting you every time throughout the games too.
When you did know, if you can all go all the way back, and you knew UConn was the right school for yourself, you're going to commit. Then you told Coach Hurley that's your school. How'd that conversation go down?
That conversation was pretty easy, to be honest. I
Okay.
committed right after the visit.
Hmm.
Right after the visit, it was on my dad's birthday too. So I
Okay.
mean that added some, definitely added some emotion to it. But I knew it was the right place to be at, right off the rip.
And what was his reaction when that happened?
Oh man, Coach Luke was with me. I still remember it. We were talking, and then he brought something up like on the court. He was saying like, "Man, man, we just need to get you here." And then I was like, "Well, you already got me." And then he just shouted in Ganfull Pavilion, heard it through both my ears. Man, it was great, man. I loved it. Loved every bit of it.
Well, I think there's no better way to transition into Coach Hurley and this coaching staff. And I've said it before, in my opinion, if I was a top level guy and I could go to any school in the country, I'd want to play for Coach Hurley. Now I know it's not meant for everybody, but that's the type of guy I feel like he's the number one coach. He's tough, but he's the number one coach. You've
Hmm.
experienced that though as a player now, both on and off the court. So you've had about 2.5 years now essentially under your belt with him. What is Coach Hurley like as a person?
Down to earth. He's gonna be real with you.
Mm,
And practice, of course, he's gonna push you. He's gonna yell at you. But I mean, everyone gets the same heat. So I mean, it's not like anyone is above anybody. You all get the same amount of love. You get the same amount of respect. If you put in the work, he's gonna respect you regardless. And
mm,
once you get on the court, you step between those lines, and the ref is blowing the whistle. He's on your side for sure. Like he'll
mm.
fight for you till the end.
What is the difference between Coach Hurley both on the court and off the court?
On the court, fiery man, fiery, super fiery. I know everyone can see it for themselves.
Yeah.
But I mean, you look off the court. I mean, he's down to earth, dude. Of course, he still has that fire in him. He's super competitive, and I mean, I'm the same way. So that's the most obvious reason why I committed, just because of how competitive I am.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's really just how he is.
All right. So, what's your favorite memory of Coach Hurley so far to this point in time?
Man, my favorite memory, I still remember it. It was one of my first weeks at UConn summer workouts, and we were playing 3-on-3-on-3, and I was
Mhm.
bringing the ball up court. He ended up saying dead, like dead of the play. I turn around and his shirt is off and he's yelling. I don't even remember what he was saying, but his shirt was off and he was yelling. I was like, oh my goodness, like this is nuts. But I mean, like this dude takes this stuff so serious.
Mm. Go a little bit deeper into that story there because obviously you're talking about playing 3-on-3-on-3. Was he mad at somebody or did it just randomly happen out of the blue?
I think it was a defensive possession. I think it was a
Okay.
defensive possession where no one picked up the ball, and
Okay.
I was almost about to pull up. But I mean, I turned my back, and then I literally see him yelling his shirt off, and that was like, wow, man, this is this is the place I need to be, to be honest.
Would you say that was your eye-opening moment? That, okay, this is Coach Hurley now as a coach. Like he's the real deal. This is the type of guy he's going to be.
That was definitely one of them. But I also saw the practices on my official visit, and then I
Mm.
seen it for myself. I was like, yeah, no, this is definitely where I need to be.
I mentioned something that, and Silas was on here a little bit ago too. And he talked about that. Obviously, Coach Hurley's not the type of guy that every player in the country can play for. Obviously, there's a lot of guys that's not going to be able to handle that, and that is because he does keep it 100. A lot of guys don't like that. Obviously, it's
Mhm.
worked out quite well for yourself and many others. When you talk about that aspect, has that just been an easy transition for yourself, or how do you kind of embrace it when a coach is going to keep it 100 with you?
I think makes it easier to play for him.
Mm.
You know, he's not going to sugarcoat anything, and my dad was the same way. So I mean, it was an easy adjustment for me. But I mean, at the same time, you know, he's going to push you every day. So I mean, that's all I was looking forward to.
The other great thing about your guys' coaching staff is there's two guys that I believe should be college basketball head coaches, Kamani Young, Luke Murray, obviously, as well. Having that where you just get to go pick the minds of not only Coach Hurley, but those two guys as well. How big have they been for you in your career?
Oh, easily as smart as minds in basketball that I've ever had in
Mm,
my corner, along with Coach Hurley. I mean, the way they break down film for us and just like give us the scouts
mm.
from like when we break defensive breakdowns, offensive plays, sets, just getting open, anything, any kind of concepts and stuff like that. They have it to a T, and I think they do it better than any other coach in the country.
I want to get into that freshman season for yourself because you go on a team, obviously the national champions, a stacked roster. For yourself, though, obviously you're a top 100 crew and know that you are a competitor. I know that you probably wanted to be on that court, impacting the court and the game more so than you probably were. But you obviously had a limited role. You had to learn and develop that year. What was that freshman year for yourself like?
My freshman year, it was the one word I would put is just growth.
Mm,
I started playing in those first 10 games after Steph got hurt. But I mean, once I sat down and like watched from the bench, man, I learned so much from the guards in front of me, from Tristan to Cam, Haas, Steph. I learned so much, just like the pace of the game, just going through certain moments, just keeping your head, how to maintain your confidence when you're going through slumps and might give up, you might give up like a bucket, stuff
mhm.
like that. Like just handling certain things like that and just how to cope, basically.
As you alluded to there, that obviously that's a year where you're going through it. And in today's era, where you have the transfer portal NIL, a lot of guys might say, you know what, I'm going to hop in the portal, go somewhere else. The coaching staff doesn't care about me. That's not your story, though. You obviously decided to stay committed to UConn. What kept you so not kind of so comfortable and confident saying, you know what, I want to stick it out at UConn. I know this is going to be the right place for me. I just need to give it time.
Yeah, I really knew it was the right place. I didn't see myself anywhere else, to be honest, besides
Okay.
going to trap or going to UConn. And I think just the big separator, he really just pushes you every day. Uh,
Mm.
it's that kind, it's really that simple. And I know I could just. There's no need to jump in the portal when I could just continue building my resume at the right school. I mean, there's no need to leave UConn when it's the basketball capital of the world. So
What is it like being at UConn where you have, like you said, it is the basketball capital of the world because no other program's winning more between the women's, men's side. It's always a champion coming out. When you talk about a school that they do have football, but obviously it's 100% a basketball school, everyone knows it as the capital of basketball there. What's it like being in that environment?
oh, it's electric, man. Every game is electric. Every home game, away games sometimes get electric just because the fans and Big East games are super hectic. But I mean, it's just great atmospheres wherever we go, and I just love them.
Going back into that aspect, when you're going through your freshman season, as you said, obviously you were just kind of embrace the role of learning. You got better, you developed. You learn from guys, Stefan Castle, obviously a great player, Tristan, so on and so forth. What's the biggest thing that you feel like you learned in that freshman season?
I think the biggest thing, just maintaining my mental space, just keeping
Mhm.
an open mind. It was kind of tough once I got to sitting down, but I mean, I realized like throughout the season, like once I started like not playing, I realized like, man, I was learned so much just from the bench, and then I mean, it helped me so much going into this past year where I was just playing free. I wasn't thinking at all.
Mm. Were there tough moments mentally for yourself during that freshman year where you felt like, you know what, I want to be on this court? I know you even got a little bit of playing time when you got to go when Castle was out for a little bit. Did you ever at any point struggle mentally and kind of say, okay, why am I being put in this position? Kind of struggling a little bit from the mental aspect?
There was a little bit of a struggle, but at the end of the day, I knew I was going to be a better player and better person. So
Okay.
I mean, I'm sitting on the bench, but like, I mean, we're winning. We're
Yeah.
37-3. Like, there's no need for me to be worrying about my
Mm.
minutes when our team is doing amazing. So that's the way I was looking at it. And I mean, it helped me so much this year. So
In terms of the practice aspect, where you're getting to go up against a guy who is one of the future, probably future All-Star, Stephen Castle, a guy in Tristan Newton who's an NBA player and an established college player at that point in time, day in, day out, learning from these types of guys, how much better did that make you as a player?
so much better. I mean, competing in practice every day is a competitive day. I mean, we're always playing live. We're always playing against each other, and coach is always pushing you, yelling at the top of his lungs, no matter what. So I mean, when you have to bring the ball up against Steph Castle full court and bring the ball up against Tristan.
Mhm.
It's kind of humbling sometimes, but I mean you're getting better every day. So
All right, so let's go into that tournament run. You guys go through it. You become national champions as a freshman. How surreal was that moment?
oh, it was. surreal isn't even the word, man. It was ridiculous, man. It was an experience I could have never imagined, and just being in Phoenix out there too, it was just amazing. And man, I couldn't trade that experience for the world.
All right, let's head into this past year because obviously then a lot of changes happened in the roster. Tristan Noon, Stephen Castle, et cetera, go off to the NBA. At that point in time, did you feel confident that this was going to be your breakout season, especially to the extent it was, or did this year's success even a little bit shock you?
I was kind of expecting it for myself just off the work I was putting in over the summer.
Okay.
I was putting in a bunch of reps. I was trying to build my mind up, build my confidence overall. I mean, it just helped me this past year, just learning from them.
Was there a point in the offseason? I know obviously you talked to Coach Hurley quite a bit, but that he kind of sat you down and said, hey, you know what? So there's going to be an opportunity for you now this upcoming season. You have a chance. We're going to give you the keys possibly if you obviously go out there and prove it. Was there a conversation where you almost felt a little bit of assurance from Coach Hurley that this was going to be a breakout season? You had a larger opportunity?
Absolutely, and that was what
Okay.
him and Coach Luke broke down to me in our breakout meeting once we were leaving after my freshman year. Just
Mhm.
the opportunity just to grow and become an even better player, and with bigger minutes, uh, lot better shot diet and stuff like that. But I mean,
Right.
I was able to work on my jumper as much to where it became a weapon, and
Mhm.
that was a big piece of my game this past year.
At any point when you were finished up your freshman season, did entering the transfer portal, did moving up from UConn at all, did that ever cross your mind? Did you ever consider that?
Not at all. That was never
Okay.
a thought in my mind.
As you went into that season, then you get ready for that upcoming year. And last year, I think would be probably best defined as the year of ups and downs. Obviously, you guys had a lot of highs, had some lows as well. When you just reflect at the picture at large of last season, how do you feel that year was for yourself?
This past year,
Yeah.
oh, more growth more than anything. But
Mm,
I mean, just an experience because I mean, the past 2 years it's been you go back to back, and a lot of people don't even experience one championship. So I
yeah.
mean, it's kind of like a humbling experience going through this past year. We still had a good record and really good team.
Right.
But I mean, we grew so much throughout the year. Like our last game, we played our best defense, and that was our Achilles heel throughout the whole year. And
Hmm.
I mean, we were able to keep that the whole season. Our record would probably been much better too. Maui probably would have been a lot better because that was our Achilles heel there too.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's definitely
I'm glad you brought that up because that's something where I look back at last year. Obviously, you guys were back to back champions and you head into that season, and you could say, outside of probably Houston, you guys gave Florida the best run for the money in that whole tournament. Obviously, you guys don't have the long distance tournament run, but you still, when you look at all the teams that Florida played, you guys gave them the close competition. Obviously, the only one you could probably say was Houston. What was it about that game? Like, did you guys just rise to the occasion because it was Florida? Do you feel like everything finally just came together at that point in time? Or what led to probably one of you guys' best games, although it was a loss, probably one of your best performances as a team in the tournament against Florida?
man. It was a good bit of us, but I mean, I would have to give all the credit to the coaching staff that we
Okay.
had there. The game plan going into that was amazing. Um, we were planning on free throws, like how we would box them out because they have three, four mobile bigs that could all get rebounds and move. Like offensively, they're
Right.
a strong offensive rebound team. So we had a really good game plan for that. We had a really good game plan for the first half with Walter Clayton and all the shooters that they had with uh, Will Richards and Elijah Martin as well, just how he attacks the rim and stuff like that. We had a really good game plan going into the game. That's what kind of put us up like 8 for a while, and I think just little mishaps in the last part, like the last 4 minutes of the game, giving up some rebounds and a couple of costly shots that we had that cost us the game.
You talk about some of those ups and downs, and all of a sudden, it kind of all came together defensively for you guys in the tournament. Then, as you guys go back through the season, obviously, we don't know what happens in the locker room at practices. What do you think was the reason that kind of helped you guys, or kind of held you guys back on the defensive end throughout the majority of last season?
That's that's a pretty hard question, but I mean, for us, I mean, just defensively, defense in its own is a mindset.
Right.
And that's one thing I've realized in the offseason too, just watching NBA playoffs and even college games. It's really a mindset. When you put your foot down, you believe like you're this dude's not scoring on me. It's gonna happen. So I mean, I broke that down. My defense was the best in the NCAA tournament,
Agree.
regardless, because my defense earlier in the year was not good, and that was something I was really trying to work on throughout the year. And by the time I got to the tournament, it was a lot better. So I mean, seeing that improvement in that part of my game definitely gave me a good sign for the rest of the season. So
I know we talked about Coach Hurley a little bit ago, and there was something that I obviously talked about Maui that kind of comes to mind. There was a lot of videos about Dan Hurley, obviously his reactions to the refs, the officials, everything pretty much going on during those games. When you are a player and you see Coach Hurley doing those things, does that ever, obviously probably not on the court in the middle of the game, but when you guys look back on it, does it ever give you guys a good laugh? Or what's your thoughts when you see some of those videos about Coach Hurley?
Oh yeah, it's definitely you definitely get a laugh out of it, but then at the end of the day, you also know he's fighting for you
Right.
24/7. Like, I mean, like he's yelling at us the whole practice, like I said. But I mean,
Mhm.
once you get between those lines, like he's on your side. Real, he's fighting for you. Like every call, it could be a bad call, and he's still calling for. Like he's like, what? Like it doesn't even matter. So I mean, I you can feel it throughout every part of the game.
What would you say has been the funniest in-game experience with Coach Hurley to this point in time?
I got a couple. I got a couple. I
All
think
right.
one that would be up there is him spilling his coffee at Providence. He was really mad about that. The ball, I think the ball got tipped out of bounds and his coffee spilled over, and he needs his coffee, man.
Absolutely, man. Well, the other thing I want to ask about is the Maui tournament. And you talked about the fact you guys are back-to-back champions. There was an immense amount of pressure and spotlight on you guys all year long to be the back-to-back-to-back three-peat, obviously, the name for it. And when you guys are going through that, as in a locker room, and especially for you that already was a national champion, being part of for you would have been back-to-back. Did you feel like there was a lot of pressure and that even maybe soaked into the team a little bit throughout the duration of last year?
Definitely in the beginning part of the year, there's probably a little bit of pressure, but at the same time, we knew all the work we were putting in. I know we were working harder than everybody else.
Right.
We have our practices at 3.5 hours throughout the whole year until the tournament, where they're like 2 hours and 15. But like we're working our tails off. So I mean, when you
Mhm.
put in that work, you just really got to trust it.
As you guys went through Maui, obviously it was a disappointing tournament overall for you guys out there. But then you guys start to turn the season around a little bit. Obviously, whatever happened in Maui happened in Maui. When you guys go through a stretch of a time of a season where you guys are obviously losing quite a few games, didn't go as expected, what allowed you guys to kind of turn the season around a little bit at that point in time when you guys got back?
Yeah, I mean, in Maui alone, we talked as a team, even without the coaches, just speaking amongst the team, and I mean that helped us connect with one another, just get on the same page, and I mean it helped us throughout the rest of the season. So
All right, man. Well, let's hop into this past offseason because you guys have an opportunity for yourself because of the fact that you were an all conference team in the Big East. You had a great shooting ability. Like you talked about earlier, your shooting obviously tremendously improved. You had a great season where you could have made a case that you could have went to the NBA draft process and at least tested it out for yourself. You just had to commit and come back to UConn early on in this process. Why was that the decision you made?
I just knew it was the right place to be, and I knew my game could evolve a lot more with another year of college. I didn't
Mhm.
really get to show my full arsenal as a complete guard, and like even my junior year of high school, like I was really considered a slasher.
Mhm.
Even my senior year at Brewster, like a lot of people would play off of me and like let me shoot because I was
Yeah.
shooting like 28% from three. But I mean, just I think really now it's just trying to put everything together, become more of a complete guard, and even just becoming a lot better defensively, and it'll give me a better chance to get even higher in the draft. So I mean, it was the right decision just to come back.
I have to ask about the shooting aspect because obviously, like I said, knowing you since you were in high school, that was obviously an aspect. We knew you were freakishly athletic. We knew you obviously able to slash. We knew those aspects about your game. But then you all of a sudden turned the notch up last season where you become one of the best premier shooters in the country last year. You have games against like you had against Marquette. You have lots of great shooting performances. What led to that? Was that a confidence, a work and confidence combined, or what led to that massive jump in your ability to shoot the ball?
Yeah, I mean, we put in so much reps over the summer that the
Mm,
shooting was just muscle memory at that point. And also, I started off shooting like when I was in my freshman year of high school. I was a shooter. Like ever since I started playing basketball, I was really a shooter,
mm.
like spot up shooter. I had to because I was
Right.
so small. So like by the time I got to my junior year, I like broke my thumb and like that kind of messed me up a bit when I was in my junior year of high school.
Gotcha.
But once I got that confidence back with my jumper, I mean, it was kind of lights out.
You mentioned something that was key there. You want to put it all together. The slashing ability, the ability to shoot, all those things really want to come together, and you're going to have a chance to do that now next season. So I have to ask you, as you look at your junior season at UConn, what can we expect from you? What's this full total put together solo ball going to look like next year?
Yeah, I say a complete guard, one that could guard, one that could compete at every single position, one that could definitely not only shoot, not only score, but get other people involved, be a lockdown defender, just really be a complete guard, set people up, make sure I just continue to build on my game.
Do you have goals for yourself? And if so, what are those goals from a personal aspect as well as a team aspect for next season?
Absolutely. I mean, the biggest goal is win the national championship.
Fair enough.
And
Yep.
along with that, I think we could do that. Becoming an All American, first team All American would be a big goal of mine for sure. And also trying to become a lottery pick in the next draft. Or, man, that's the goal, to be honest.
And you talk about the aspect that you obviously want to come back. You feel like you can improve a lot over this duration of the year. So if I were to say now, okay, your goals for next year in terms of improvement, what do you want to get better so that you feel confident where if we were to have this conversation 1 year from now, instead of coming back to college or staying in that draft, what will it take for you to be able to be in that position?
I think just continue to improve defensively and improve to coach that I could guard 1 through 3. And if at times, because I feel like I'm strong enough 1 through 4, um, being able to do that, or being a more complete guard, setting people up to score instead of just scoring for myself or just making plays for others. I think that would be a big separator for me this upcoming year.
One other aspect I want to ask about coming back, we know the NIL component has allowed, and last year we had the least amount of guys declare for the NBA, or this year we had the least amount of guys declare for the NBA draft. Does that impact your decision when you know that there's NIL aspect? Does that make it more of a confident approach for you saying, you know what, I feel like more confidence in terms of coming back to college?
Definitely, there's definitely an aspect to that. But I mean, the way I looked at NIL, even last year, like I was one of those guys, like man, like this is enough money anyway. With just
Fair enough.
like
Yeah.
to be honest, like I mean, when you see people getting millions and stuff like that, I mean, I never looked at it like that. I mean, I'm here to hoop. So I
Mhm.
mean, if I'm 20 years old with a couple 100,000, that's good enough. I don't I don't need all that money right now anyway. I'd rather work for it. So.
You know, that is a unique component there because you're a part of this new era where so many guys in the past never experienced this. Now, you obviously come this experience, and so many guys we've seen now have obviously taken the money, put themselves in bad situations, so on and so forth. And I get it; it's easy. You're young, you have a lot of money. What's kept you so disciplined, saying, you know what, like you said, this is more than enough money. I'm going to be grateful for what I have, and I'm still going to stay focused on the main goal in the future.
Yeah, my parents keep me grounded, and I'm really just keeping the main goal the main goal. I want to be a big time NBA player when I grow up. So I mean, that's
Right.
always been the goal since I really started playing basketball. So I mean, just keeping that in the back of my mind. I feel like just money could kind of hamper that sometimes and steer you away from your goals. So I mean, I'm just trying to stay laser focused on that. So I mean, I don't really need money.
Absolutely, man. Well, I want to get into this upcoming year and this roster for you guys because we just talked about yourself, but when we look at this roster, it looks really good, at least on paper at this point in time. And you look at these guys, I know you guys haven't got to play with each other too much yet, but you guys are adding in Silas, Malachi Smith. You guys have three great freshmen coming in as well as yourself returning. Terrace Reed, Caribbean, Ross, Jalen Stewart. When you look at the way this roster is coming together, how excited does it make you?
Oh, super excited, man! It's just almost a reload. It's really just a reload that coach has really been talking about too.
Mm,
Really just excited. I mean, we're a lot more athletic too. I think that's
right.
going to make it really fun where we get to play in transition more.
Hmm.
And I think it's just going to be a lot different, just the way we play too. I think it's just going to be a lot more electric.
Now, I was talking to a man who is a national championship. You've seen your national champion. You've seen what a national championship roster looks like. You've seen what a team that's also just really good, but obviously didn't make the national championship run that you guys could have made their first year. When you see about the piece on this roster, does this team have a chance to make the type of run this year?
I absolutely believe it. I think we have the top down. I think we're ready to compete against anybody. And even the schedule that we're putting together is even going to set us up for that. I think us playing BYU pretty early is going to be a good test for us just as a team. And I think that'll
Mhm.
really show us where we are.
Out of the games you know that's on your calendar so far, whether that be conference and or non-conference, what game are you the most excited for?
I'm excited for that BYU game, but I'm really excited to play Florida again. That's one
All
game
right.
I'm really looking forward to. That's circled on my calendar.
One of those newest guys you guys are bringing in, Silas DeMar, who I'm very, very high on. I think he's going to be a great guard for you guys. When you talk about you guys forming that backcourt, alongside Malachi Smith as well, but you talk about you and Silas out there. I know people are excited about you guys being in the backcourt. How special of a backcourt can you guys be together?
Man, he's a dog, man. Silas is a dog, and I think we could be really special together. I think we can both play on and off the ball, so I think
Yeah.
that's what makes us deadly. And man, he could guard too. He could guard just because he's tall too. He could guard 1 through 3, 1 through 4. So I mean, I think it just makes us easy for matchups where I mean, I won't have to guard like a 6'8" dude where he. There's also so much different size on the floor. So
Hmm. When you also talk about this team, right, there's a lot of guys coming back, one of which is Alex Carabin. You guys spent already a couple years together. That was huge news for you guys because obviously we're looking at a guy that could have very well went to the NBA draft, been a second round pick, whatever. Having him back in the mix now, how much better does this team come from not only a leadership aspect, but also on the court as well?
man, he's a huge piece, man. When I was in my bed when I found out he came back, man, I was so excited, man. He's a great dude and just a great presence in the locker room too. I mean, he helps us so much. He helped us so much last year, the
Mm,
past 2 years with the two winning teams. Anyone who gets two back-to-back championships as a starter,
right.
man, like no one's doing that, man. So, I mean, AK has been big for us, tremendous, and I mean, it's only going to help us get an even better shot this upcoming year.
So did you have any idea that he was going to come back before you saw the announcement? Or how'd you find out?
I had an idea, like I was hoping he would really come back, to be
Right,
honest, but
right.
it was really just a hope and pray. But I mean, I'm just super happy he came back, to be honest.
I'm sure if I were to ask you this next question, in probably 3 or 4 weeks when you guys get on campus, get back together, it's gonna be a little bit different. But at this point in time, texting with each other, DMing, whatever it might be, how close do you feel like this team is going to be from a connective standpoint? Obviously, nothing on the court yet, but just as a connectivity, as a group, chemistry wise, how close you guys are so far at this point in time?
I, man, I started sending texts out as soon as people were committing. That was one goal for me, just trying to reach out to people, just welcome them.
Mm,
But I mean, a text only goes so far. So, but
right.
I think with Hurley, man, that's just one of the best things he's really good at, just forming good locker rooms with good people. And
Mm.
I just see that same thing every single year. It's just a reoccurrence of great locker room guys and great people you can just play with, and you won't have to worry about any like drama or anything like that. That doesn't happen where we are.
What about that is that? Because, like you said, I feel like that's a very common thing. You guys had ups and downs last year, but yet we didn't hear any crazy locker room stuff happening. There's not crazy max exodus of players coming out of that locker room each and every single year, like some programs have. What about that in terms of how Coach Curley builds that culture in that locker room, keeps guys bought in, keeps guys all so tight knit throughout the season?
Everyone just stays locked in throughout the season, to be honest, and
Right.
just the way he forms the locker rooms. Man, everyone comes in with the mentality just to work, ready to work, and I think everyone just being on the same page, having that same mentality, it goes a long way. So.
Well, a few more questions before I let you go, Solo. One of which is that you kind of alluded to it right there about kind of taking on the leadership role, being a person who's going to text guys, welcome them on the team. And now, obviously, we know Cal Caravan's obviously the most experienced player, but you're right up there now as the second most experienced player on this roster. What about then kind of taking on that leadership role more so this year are you excited about?
Man, just definitely, man. To be honest, just really just being able. I couldn't even tell you, man. I'm excited for every part of this next upcoming year, but I mean, in general, just to be able to have a new group, man. It's a almost a brand new reload to just be able to have a new group and have a new open locker room, new guys, new faces, just people ready to work. I think it's just gonna be a great experience.
If you could summarize what version of solo ball we're going to see this upcoming season for the fans listening, how would you summarize this version of solo ball in one word?
Complete.
All right. I love that, man. Well, I got one final question for you, Solo, and that's the question like wrapping up every single interview with. That's talking about your legacy. Obviously, you know that this could possibly be your last year at UConn. When you're done at UConn, and even in the greater scheme of things, when you're done playing basketball down the future, what is it that you want your legacy to be for what you've accomplished both inside and on the court as well as outside and off the court?
I'm just hoping I'm known more for as me being a person versus me
Mm.
being a basketball player. I'd rather someone come up to me and uh, like if I'm introducing myself, I'd rather someone just be like, "Oh, nice to meet you." You not have to be like, "Oh, I see you on TV" or anything like that. I would just be cool, just someone like have genuine conversations. I think that would be even big for me, just having that kind of genuine conversations, not just outside of me playing basketball.
I love that, man. Well, I definitely appreciate yourself coming on today, man. I can't wait, not wait to see what God's got in store for this upcoming season. Best of luck, man, and I can't wait to see what God's got in store for you.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you for having me.
Absolutely. So you're always welcome on, man. God bless.
God bless you too.
I appreciate everyone for tuning into that interview. I will have this entire interview clipped up, edited out, and posted on my YouTube channel separately in about an hour or so. I thank you guys all for tuning in once again, and I'll see you guys later. SchuZ out.